Hello, everybody. Happy Thursday. It's Christina, the Bravo Babe here, and today I am joined by none other than Chloe Caroline. She
Thank you.
is, she is a singer, songwriter, I think an expert in manifesting. So I'm so happy to have you on.
Yay, I'll take it, dude. That's a great intro. Chloe, pop singer, expert in manifesting.
Yeah, you can use it now.
Thank you. I'm gonna add that to my Instagram bio.
There you go. And that's how we found each other was through Instagram. Um,
Yep.
I had heard your song, I had seen your stories, and I was like, wow, I need to follow her. And then after chatting, I found out that Chicago, where I'm from, has played your music on, I believe you said the mix.
Yep. Yep. Been
So what
really
was
cool on their new music club, which is awesome because they support independent artists like myself or just up and coming talent. And, it's hard to get on the radio as an independent
right?
artist. So
Do you remember what it felt like the first time you heard yourself on the radio or somebody had told you that you were on the radio?
Yeah, I would say, I mean, I have like two different experiences. One was when obviously I experienced it the first time, and that was wild. That was surreal. It was on like I mean, there was like a couple online radio stations like back in the day when I was first like a teenager and releasing music, and that was
Mhm.
cool. But the first big one was when Alt 98.7, which is like a station here in LA, a big one that plays all pop music and stuff. They played it, and that was like a station that I listened to growing up, like in the backseat of my mom's car when I was like a toddler. So that was like
Nice.
super full circle, and that was actually something I manifested. So
That's totally full circle. How awesome.
yeah, I had like written it on my mirror probably a couple weeks before that. And I was like, I would love for this to happen, and
And you
it
made it
did.
happen. That's so exciting.
It was
And
awesome.
what song was that?
It was a song called Ready.
Ready. Okay. And what year did you write that?
That was in 2020, and it's kind of a cool story in itself because that song was written when like a producer had basically told me like you're not ready for the next chapter of your career, even though I had been doing everything like he asked everything right, and
Mhm.
I was just like, who are you to not tell me that I'm not ready? And at that
Right.
point too, I was like looking at my life and I was like, you know what? I know I'm ready, but I do need to make some like leaps of faith here and, you know, leave the comfort zone, I guess. And so that's when I
Yes.
like moved to LA and I ended my long-term relationship that was unhealthy and a bunch of other things that were terrifying. And it led to just some amazing other shifts in my life. And that song being one of them. So again, like just like very full circle of what happens when you kind
For
of
and they say nothing good comes from a comfort zone. So getting out of your comfort zone, doing something new, making major life changes, people
yeah,
might look at you and say, "What is she doing? She's making all
yeah,
these big changes. Is she okay?" And it's like,
sure.
"Yes, I'm doing this, for myself, and you
Yeah,
don't need to explain it to anybody."
right. I think, for me, I just had been feeling it for a while. Like there was just something in my soul that was like almost like kind of like dead inside, even though there was so much other stuff that was positive that was going on. I just felt still very limited and I realized I was like, well, I don't have to like limit myself. Like,
Mhm.
this, in some ways moving from I'm from LA, but I really started my career in Nashville and leaving that comfort zone where things were going well is terrifying because you're like I'm literally going to the big city starting over
Right.
in a way.
Right.
Who knows what could happen? Is this bad for my career? But I think when you follow again, like it sounds so cliche, but like follow your heart, it you end up being happier. At least you could be like, well, I tried it.
Right, exactly. Do you
Yeah.
feel like everything that you went through, the year 2020 also, that was like the height of COVID. So
Yep.
you did
Yep.
all of this during a global pandemic, which kudos to you because that makes it all the more, successful in my opinion.
Thank you.
Definitely.
Yeah, it was crazy. I mean that kind of sparked this sort of like spiritual awakening, I guess, in me. It was like I had moved here right before COVID, obviously not anticipating it, and then
Right.
like ended my relationship, and then all of a sudden like was alone. You know, I mean, luckily my parents actually were living here at the time, and I was really blessed to be able to like be with them during COVID, but you know, still like really alone. You know, it's like I said I wanted to be alone, but like,
But
you
now
know,
I'm really
universe really gave
alone.
it to me. Yeah, exactly. So I really had that time to kind of like sit with myself and learn how to be in the present moment. I'm somebody who's very go, go, go. A lot of independent artists are, you kind of have to be everything and be everywhere. And so to learn how to just like chill and be okay with that and
Mhm.
realize like all the small things that were bringing me joy, really being able to recognize them, because we sometimes don't take the time to do that.
Right.
Kind of like over time helped me learn how to like trust myself again and make better decisions for myself, and you know, figure out what I wanted really long term besides my career.
Right. So do you think that's when you did some of your like strongest songwriting was during that time?
Yes, definitely. That's, I pretty much poured like everything I was going through into my music, and my last EP, The Awakening Volume 1, was like inspired by it. Same with the EP that's about to come out. Like these are all songs that were written when I was trying to find myself again and heal
And
from
that's what
heartbreak.
makes music relatable. That's what makes people relate to you. That's what makes people relate to the music. It's because it's real life.
It's real, exactly. Yeah, it's real life. And for me, it's like it is my therapy. Like I will always say, like if I didn't have it, I feel like I'd be nuts. Like honestly, like I
Mhm.
will. It's how I process things. It's how I understand myself and like the world around me.
It's a creative outlet, but it's also your life because you are an artist. You know,
Yeah,
I say
yeah,
for me, my creative outlet is doing this. It's, you know, it's
right.
in different ways for everybody. And
Yeah.
I think it's so awesome that you have the talent that you're an artist. I mean, I couldn't be an artist. I can't songwrite.
Everybody, I like to say that everybody's an artist, different types of artists, you know,
Yes,
like
and you
you
have to
are.
appreciate all forms of it, definitely.
Yes, yes, exactly. But yeah, no, thank you. It was cool, and also, you know, getting to write about all the different stages, like as I was going through them, and then
Hmm.
now, like really, like looking back and being like, okay, it's crazy to see how certain perspectives have changed, or like I could see glimpses of her peeking out, you know, the
Right.
person that where I'm at now, or falling in love again and taking a risk again, and seeing that like be a really beautiful thing is also encouraging, because I can then share the songs when I was at my lowest point and be
Hmm.
like, hey, you know, person listening to this, like, I'm a hope story for you. Like, it's, you know what I
Yes,
mean? In a way, like,
right.
if it can happen to me, it can happen to you know? So don't give up, sort of situation.
Right. And they can hear that through the songs. That's so awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I was looking and it looks like you've had so we talked about the radio success, which once again that is the coolest thing to be able to hear yourself on the radio, but also there was some Nickelodeon and Disney radio that you
Yeah,
were
yeah,
featured on. What was
yeah.
that like? Tell me about that.
Yeah, so that was at the earlier start of everything, and I was in college at the time, and obviously, like as a kid growing up, I was obsessed with Disney Channel and Hannah
Absolutely.
Montana and like High School Musical, all this, you know, Lizzie McGuire, and so you know, you kind of dream about being on Disney, and I had just moved to Nashville. I was like a freshman in college, released like my first EP, and there was a song called Indian Summer that had been getting some traction on online radio stations. And this was when I was like really working hard to build my social media. I mean, like one by one, like DMing people, hey, check out my song. I think,
Hmm.
you know, maybe you'll like it, you know,
Right.
really taking the time to do that. And somebody, I think it was like through one of the online radio stations or something. Anyways, how to connect to Radio Disney, and they sent my stuff, and this guy Phil Greeny, who at the time was basically running Radio Disney, had me come in, and I didn't know what to expect at all. I thought it was just like a little interview, meet and greet sort of
Hmm.
situation. Hey, Chloe, and they ended up being like, hey, we're gonna add your song like on Radio Disney and Disney Channel, and we're gonna play the music video, and it was the coolest thing. And then same with Nick Music was doing a similar thing at the time, and they added it.
That
So that
is,
was,
it's another full circle moment. And it shows the range of your music, the demographic of it, you know, it can be relatable for people our age. It can be relatable for younger kids that like the music. So that's awesome.
thank you. And it was cool too, I think, because, I was, again, an independent artist. I think I was the first independent artist that they had added. And so for somebody else who doesn't have a label or anything like that and feels like, oh, that'll never happen for me, like, again, like kind of proof that it can. And I think the funniest thing though was I was nannying. I did a lot of nannying in college to make money. And I was nannying and I was like cleaning the floors, literally. And all of a sudden I'm like hearing my song and I look up and one of the kids was watching Disney Channel and I was like, this is great. I was like,
That is
this
the
is
coolest
so,
thing.
yeah, it was crazy because it was just kind of like ironic too, because it just again shows you too, like how, media isn't everything either. People are probably like, oh, this girl's, super famous and loaded, or you know what I'm saying? And like I was
Right.
like a kid in college, like cleaning up crumbs on the
Cleaning the
floor.
floor.
Yeah, that's just the reality sometimes, but really cool
So
moment.
very cool. And speaking of college, you went to Belmont University, is that correct?
Yeah, yep.
And I heard that you had a sorority sister that my listeners will be familiar with, Allie Weber.
Yes, yes, Allie, she's so sweet.
What was your
Love her.
relationship like with her? Did you guys see each other in passing? Were you just sorority
Yeah,
sisters?
we went to a pretty small school, so our sorority wasn't gigantic, I guess. So we definitely, I think she's a year below me. So we definitely knew each other. We weren't like besties necessarily, but we definitely, had similar friends in our sorority and stuff. And I remember
How
her always
cool.
being such a sweetheart. So yeah, when I saw that she was on Vanderpump Rules, I was like, what? Allie?
Right. I had the chance to meet her back in November at BravoCon, and
Yeah.
she was the sweetest soul. Her boyfriend, James Kennedy, I am like his number one fan.
Yeah.
So it was nice to meet them. And then when I saw that you said you guys were sorority sisters, I thought, well, that's cool. What a small world.
It is a small world. And it's cool for me too, again, like being from LA, like yes, I knew some people that ended up moving here from Nashville, of course, it's like the industry, but I don't always know who they are. So it's like so fun to like
Right.
see on Instagram, like, oh my gosh, like
This is
they're
what you're up to. This is what you're doing.
yeah, exactly. And yeah, you just you never know, like I guess where you're gonna end up.
Exactly. You never know. You guys are both now in California and living out your dreams.
Yeah, exactly. And she's got a crazy awesome life, it looks like, and also loves astrology. So my girl.
Yes, I had an astrology reading with her, I was telling you. I don't know if she still does them, but she offered them a couple months ago. So that was a cool thing to do for sure.
So fun. Had you had that happen before?
No, never. So
Right.
my birthday is the end of April. I'm a Taurus.
Oh, nice. Love
What about
Tauruses.
you?
So I'm an Aquarius. My birthday is February 12th, so it's coming up. But yeah, I'm a huge like tarot fan and just astrology fan in general. Do you know your
We'll
other
have to,
sign?
no, I don't remember. I had a notebook written down of all of the things she told me, and I was so into it, and then life happens, and now I'm unsure, but
We'll do it again.
we'll do it together.
Yeah, we definitely will.
So after college, it looks like you graduated 2018, if I'm correct.
2016, yes. And then I lived
16.
there. Yeah, I still lived in Nashville for a couple of years.
I
Yeah,
was
and then
reading you co-starred in a movie with Kelly Rutherford, who
yeah,
is everybody's favorite TV mom,
yeah,
um,
awesome
Serena
girl.
Vanderwoodson's mom herself. She was just at Fashion Week. We saw her sitting next to Kylie Jenner.
What?
So
She
what
was
was that experience like, that whole movie, that whole part of your life? What was that like?
that was wild because I had never acted in my life. Besides, of course, like being in music videos, if you can consider that acting, I'd maybe done some commercials as like a really little kid, but growing up in California, I mean, I knew so many kids that wanted to be actors and how
Right,
bad
of course.
they wanted it. And I had a really terrible experience that like in like a church play where my church like director was like an awful person.
Oh no.
Okay. And I just remember like feeling terrible and being like humiliated and being like, okay, well, like maybe not. And knew I was like really good at good at singing, you know, this is something that I like love naturally. And so kind of like was like, okay, I'm gonna do that. And then this opportunity kind of fell in my lap. I was like at my family's cabin in Canada, and I think it was through the Disney Channel thing. Again, like the stars connecting, right?
Yes.
They had reached out. They were like, "Does she? Well, one, we like her music. Two, you know, does she act?" And so my manager was like, "Yeah, sure, she
Of
acts."
course.
Yeah, for
Who's
sure.
gonna say no?
Yeah, exactly. And so they were like, well, like, does she want to read for this role? It's for like, you know, she's a bartender in the movie and a performer, and she kind of like the whole premise of the movie was that like this singer ends up helping, you know, save the fall festival, and you know, they end up, yeah, that was the concept, and so I was the singer, and so it wasn't a super far fetched role, but I read for it, and then ended up getting the part, and then they ended up wanting to use like six of my songs that I thought would never see the light of day again because
Wow.
this time, yeah, I was like transitioning from more country to pop, and they were looking for more like country music for this movie. And so I was like, well, here are songs that I wrote as like a 16-year-old. You know, there was like a couple
Here
other
they
ones.
are. Just do
Yeah,
what you
here they
want with
are.
them.
Yeah, exactly. Like, see if they work. And they were like, yeah. So I ended up doing the soundtrack for the film and performing on camera. And we had an amazing female director named Lee Friedlander, who was super like positive. And then Kelly was my co-star, and Cameron Matheson from General Hospital. And they were just like so encouraging, and that doesn't always happen, especially like your first time around.
Hmm.
And they were really the reasons that, or part of the reason that I actually ended up moving to LA and being like, all right, I want to be in a place where I can really use my creative strengths like to my
All of
full
your
self.
strengths, and you can,
Yeah,
right, and you'll thrive doing that. So
yeah.
you moved from Nashville then to California.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think that, the opportunities in Nashville are great, but if you wanted to get into more of the acting, you mean you have to go to California. You just have
Yeah,
to.
yeah, you do, and like it's like of course you can. There's a lot of the Zoom auditions are a thing now, and submitting your tapes, but it's still at the end of the day, like there's a lot in LA that just is in LA. You know what I mean? Like
Opportunities, right.
a lot of different opportunities, exactly. And so, for me, I was like, well, I can always go visit Nashville. I can always go make writing trips and go back and forth and stuff. So
Exactly.
yeah, it was crazy, and yeah, Kelly is such a sweetheart. We've become really close like since then. And yeah,
How
I'm really
awesome
like
is that? She is such an icon. I love that for you.
she is. She's really cool. Yeah, you know, again, like when you meet people that are at like a high, you know, high profile, you don't always know how they're gonna be, and you hope that they're still like genuine
Down
and
to
stuff.
earth and genuine, right.
Yeah, but you don't know. I mean, I've met people that literally have like less Instagram followers than me or something, but have a record like label, and they're just rude to you, you know.
Hmm.
But she was so cool. She like immediately like was like, "Hey, what's your phone number? Like, here's mine. Like, let's grab lunch. Like, let's hang out." And you know, I just think that's the coolest thing, and it made me to be like, "All right, well, the more my career grows, like that's the type of person that like I want to be."
Right.
You
It
know?
opens your eyes to people in the industry that really are wanting the best for you. They're rooting for you.
Yeah,
And then that's what
yeah.
you obviously want to do for others that you're first meeting or that might be looking to you for advice or loving your music and
Exactly.
they want to go that path also. It goes back
Sure.
to what you said was saying in your lyrics, you've been here, now
Yeah.
you're here. It is
Yeah.
possible.
It is possible, and it doesn't define you either, right? It doesn't like no one's better than somebody else because no, you know, they're a multimillionaire, they're the face of a
Right.
TV show or whatever. It's not like that. It's just, you know, we're all human at the end of the day.
Right, exactly. So
Yeah. If
having
any
lived in Nashville, do you draw inspiration from any specific country music artists? I'm a big country music fan.
Oh, for
So I'm just
sure.
curious, if there's any specific country artists that you like or draw inspiration from?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So, I mean, I grew up listening to a lot of different types of music, but I was like a huge Dixie Chicks fan, Shania Twain, Dolly Parton, like heroes of all heroes. So them for sure. I mean, those are, I guess now the oldies.
Right.
Yeah, and of course, like Taylor Swift, especially when she first walked into the country music scene. But yeah, I mean, Miranda Lambert's amazing. Keith Urban, Dan and Shay are really, really
Yes.
talented. Yeah, just yeah, I'm a big fan of the storyteller. So no matter what your genre is, if you tell a good story, like you got me.
Yes,
For
that's how I felt listening to Zach Bryan's new album. I felt like the
sure.
whole thing was just a beautiful story.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay, I need to check it out.
You have to
I
check
feel
it
like
out.
I do because like when I was living in Nashville, I was surrounded by it 24/7. Like I didn't have to research. You know what I mean? It was like there, whether you liked it or not at times, like you're fully
Right.
immersed in country music. And so then when I got away from it for a bit, I was like, all right, this is this is a nice break. But I do love it. I do love
You
it.
always go, you have to go back to your roots at some point, you know?
For sure, yeah. And again, it's about the song for me. If it's a great song, I don't care what it is. Like you got me.
Right. So what would you say when you're not working, when you're not, making your music videos, because you do all this yourself, you and your friends, it looks like shoot your own music videos.
Yeah, yeah.
So the planning that goes into that, I mean, they look professional, the planning that goes into it. What is that like, securing a spot, getting your, lighting, everything together? How did you learn how to do that?
I mean, honestly, like so you kind of do it, and you have trial and error like along the way. And again, I've been really really blessed to meet other creatives that are up to explore and try new things and work with smaller budgets at times, and literally like shoot with their hands out the back of a car to try and get me on the street, whatever you have
Mhm.
to do to like get the shot. I mean,
To get the shot.
yeah, and I think sometimes you get some really amazing things though without this giant team. Of course, like it sounds really amazing to have somebody doing your hair and makeup and it being perfect and everything, but you have so much, there's freedom there, but there's
Hmm.
also a ton of freedom in having maybe three people max with you and not, having necessarily like a license to
A
shoot
whole
somewhere, but like
crew.
randomly being like, we're shooting a student film. Don't do that, but also do that, because
Right.
you don't know what you're gonna get. I mean, I remember for my song Old Souls, I wasn't shooting a music video, but I was doing a photo shoot. And it was again like very like old fashioned, like that was kind of like the vibe for the,
Hmm.
the shot that we were trying to get. And I kind of like, I made myself look a little bit more like old fashioned, I guess, but current. But we randomly stumbled upon this like old car, like this perfect condition, like vintage car.
Ooh.
And like the photographer's like, Chloe, squat down and just like take some pictures. And we ended up getting these insane shots where like that car rental would have cost like at least a couple grand
You use
to
what you have when you have it.
yeah, so you never know, is you just gotta gotta go for it. And my last music video for my song Manifest was really fun because I got to have an all-female team for that, and I had to team up with my
Love
friend,
that.
yeah, Ali Snyder and Elena Booth, and again just like creatives wanting to create and being down for it. And it was the first time I'd had a brand sponsor a music video, and
Very
there was a
cool.
brand called House of Divinity, which is run by like a female entrepreneur who kind of manifested her business like that year, like literally picked up, moved from LA, or I think it was LA or somewhere in the States to Thailand and started her business. Like,
Wow.
and yeah, and she made like she makes angel number necklaces. And so I was like, this would be perfect. 1111's kind of a theme in this
It's a theme
video
in
of
the song,
mine.
right?
Yeah, exactly. And so I was like, would you want to like, sponsor this video? And she was like, sure. So we did it, and we like rented a little cabin in Big Bear and shot the thing like over the whole night and got 0 hours of sleep, and we did
And you
it.
got it done.
So,
Are
yeah.
you wearing an 1111 necklace now?
I'm not. I'm actually wearing my other I'm wearing my other necklace. This is actually a co-design that I did with a company called Moonglow Jewelry. So it's a
Oh,
lover's tarot card. So I did that was another really fun thing I got to do for my last EP is design pieces inspired by some of the songs. So
how cool is
again,
that?
I just got to go for it, man. I had been like, I loved their stuff. Moonglow is a really cool company. They make pieces with the moon from like a specific like day and time of your choice, basically.
Oh, wow.
Um,
Okay.
yeah, which is so cool. And so I loved that being, into astrology and all. And so I reached out and they'd sent me a couple
That's
pieces
the
and I was
perfect collaboration.
yeah, I was like, would you guys ever like want to design something? I don't know if you've done this before with somebody, but I have this idea and I had a song called Twin Flames and it's all about balance and partnership and that's what the Lover's Tarot card really represents. And so yeah, so we made that piece and
I love how
people
your music really does correlate to your life in all aspects.
thank you.
It really
Yeah,
does.
thank you. That's like my vision is like I want to have just an all-encompassing career and use my creativity to my full potential and it all makes me a better artist at the end of the day and like a better musician to
Mm.
think that way because if it's just 24/7, I love writing songs. Of course, I do it for free. I would do it for free even if I had a 9 to 5, it's the first thing I would do. But the fact that it like I can use these other creative outlets too and it like make my music better is great.
It really
Yeah.
is. So it sounds like your life is almost 24/7 being an artist. If
Yeah.
I were to catch you on an off day, what would you
Mhm.
be doing? If you had a day where you didn't have to go to a studio, you didn't have to send any emails, you could just
Yeah.
be Chloe, what would Chloe
Yeah.
do?
Oh, I love, well, I love to cook. I love to cook
Oh,
and I love to bake. Again, I guess that's kind of creative. But for me, like using, like I love to just like use my hands and make stuff. And so for me, like food is, like, I'm just such a foodie. I love it. So definitely cooking, baking, making up recipes. That's a big thing. Getting to be outside. I'm a big like sunshine girl. So anytime I can be like in nature and
mhm.
on a walk. Like I'm a big walker. I try to walk every single day. I think those two you'd probably find me doing most.
Love
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Love that. Let's see. A blessing for you because it
yeah,
consumes my life.
yeah,
The whole gossip with Bravo Babe thing came because of Bravo TV.
yeah.
Um, and I know you're an artist, but would you ever, if you were approached to do some sort of reality TV, would you be open to doing that?
I think so. Yeah, I think it depended obviously what it is. Like it's funny back in I think it was 2020 or like right before COVID, I was approached to be on a dating reality show.
Ooh,
And I don't know if it ended up airing, but I did it. I was like, you know what, whatever. Like, I'm not gonna actually do it. I was like, I'm not gonna do it because I didn't want to be on a dating show. But I was like, I'll take the interview just because like this will be a hilarious and like a funny experience. So let me just see like what happens. My manager's like, just go for it. Talk to the casting director, and I was like, all right. So I get on there, and then I keep getting to the next round, to the next round, and it finally
and you're
gets to a
like,
point
oh,
where
this
I'm
is
like,
becoming
oh
real.
God, yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. But that show, they really wanted me to like leak a lot of my past relationship that was really serious, and
Mhm,
and at that point, I wasn't like ready to do that. I really wanted to do that to the other person, I suppose.
mhm.
But I think it would be super cool to one, like I would love to host a reality show. I love to talk to people. I also love to interview people. So I think that would be really fun. And yeah, if it was like, I mean, obviously like music related or just any sort of creative related or I don't
Right.
know, something where it's like you could maybe where it's like you're encouraging people that are starting up their own businesses and their
Right.
dreams, making
And you
them
have to
turn
be so
into
vulnerable to do something like that. It
yeah,
probably, strips you down to your authentic self. You're vulnerable.
sure,
Um,
yeah. Which
it's
is
not
cool.
for
Like I think that's why they liked me because I feel like I am a very open book, but I'm also like such an open book. I was like, is this gonna be a problem? Because I don't
is this
know.
appropriate?
Yeah, yeah, I don't don't know if this other person, at this point, because it was dating, I didn't know if this other person, I just didn't really like want to do that at the time. At least it was
Right.
so fresh. But yeah, I do like that about reality TV, though you never know how they're gonna portray you.
You never know. Until the
Yeah,
day before the episode comes out and they get the screeners, they don't know what is going on.
right. That's like the terrifying part. But yeah, no, I think I definitely would be open to it. My friend Bennett was on or no, was it The Bachelor? I think he actually was on The Bachelor, and then he also did Naked and Afraid, the dating one.
Oh, wow. That's intense.
It was intense. Yeah, he said it was like crazy, but he had fun. So you never
So
know.
while living in California, have you met somebody that you were kind of struck by, or have you met somebody that made you say, "Oh my gosh, like I'm here and I just met this person.
Ooh,
Wow."
that's a good question. Kind of hard to say because, well, okay, this wasn't like in person, but it will always be a favorite memory of mine. I was in LA, but it was over FaceTime, and I was at a premiere. I was at the premiere actually for the movie I was in, Love, of course. And we were sitting there, and the director was best friends with Avril Lavigne, and she knew I was like obsessed. I mean, Avril like was somebody I like literally worshipped. I mean, like seriously. And
Mhm.
so, I'm sitting there, and randomly she like puts a phone in front of my face, and she's like, Chloe, like someone wants to say hi to you, and it's Avril Lavigne like
Ah,
on FaceTime, and I literally was like froze. I was like, "Hey, how's it going?" Like, I didn't even know what
I'm
to do, and
Chloe. Hi.
yeah, I'm Chloe. Like, oh my God, what? Just yeah. So that was probably the most surreal, and just because like I was so like obsessed with her,
Oh,
growing up, and
absolutely.
yeah, and I mean, again, one of the people that contributed to me being an artist. So I think that was crazy. And then honestly, like seeing Stevie Nicks come out at the Harry Styles concert at the Forum,
Oh,
I
wow.
like sunk to my knees and like sobbed. And again, it wasn't like me meeting her in person, but like to
That's an
see her on
experience
stage.
that
Yeah. And it was a surprise. No one knew it was
incredible.
coming. Yeah, no one knew it was coming. And so Stevie again is one of my heroes. And so, I mean, literally, she's like my phone case. You can't really see right now, but it says
Stop
like,
it. Oh my
don't be a
gosh.
lady, be a legend. But yeah, I just like, I was like crying. It was crazy. And I feel like I don't get very starstruck, like, because I grew up in LA and in an industry like family. My dad's in the film business. And so,
That would make
that was
anybody starstruck.
yeah, I was like, yeah, it was pretty crazy.
That is. So we're
Yeah.
here with 2024. We have a couple minutes left, and I feel like a reoccurring theme in both of our lives, honestly, is manifesting.
Yeah.
What are you manifesting for yourself in the next just upcoming months?
Yeah.
What are you
Ooh.
thinking?
So I'm definitely manifesting more creative partnerships with brands that are aligned with me. Definitely that. Getting to make more music videos, stuff like that, with my new EP that's coming out. I think again, just like bigger picture projects that are going to be really fun. I'm trying to get a full length film that I helped create off the ground, so that would be amazing. Merchandise, I've wanted to do it for a minute. I had started it with it was a company called Pledge Music that did like a Kickstarter campaign thing, and unfortunately they ran out of business, and I lost all of them. I never got the money, and it was a really awful experience. And I still gave everybody their merchandise, but I just had such a bad experience. I kind of like needed a minute to
Trial
gather
and
my
error. Yes.
yeah. And so I'm planning on doing merch. What else? And I really want to play more shows and festivals and actually like meet fans that I've been wanting to meet in person. I actually like randomly got to meet a fan at an art gallery last like 2 weekends ago. I was
Oh, how
randomly
cool.
invited to this art gallery, and this girl comes up to me and is like, "Are you Chloe?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And she's like, "I love your music," and like
Oh
that
my
was surreal.
gosh.
Yeah, yeah, it's like yeah, and I almost didn't go that night. I mean, it was a small random Malibu art gallery. Like it just didn't make any sense. Why would that happen? And so That was wild. So to be able to do that would be so cool because I've never really done, a tour. I've never opened for, well, I did like a small tour one time, but I would love to like open for another artist and just, yeah, really, really get to meet more fans. Obviously my own
Definitely.
tour, but
Well, we're putting all of that out into the universe.
thanks.
Hopefully it comes back tenfold. Absolutely. All of it's going out there. It sounds like you've had a lot of success. It sounds like a lot of more success is to come. And I can't wait
Oh,
to continue watching and listening. Why don't you tell everybody where they can find you on social media? They can find your music.
yeah, so definitely Chloe Caroline on Spotify, Apple Music, all the music places. On Instagram at Chloe Caroline, my website, chloecaroline.com, TikTok, I'm Chloe Caroline, Twitter, I'm Chloe Caroline, Facebook,
Awesome.
literally everywhere.
That's
um,
good. That's perfect.
yeah, all of that. And I definitely need to come to Chicago too. I feel like that's like, it's literally like one of my top three fan bases, and I've never played there before. So I need to make that happen.
You need to make it happen and we can meet in person and we can see everything that you manifested come to life.
Exactly. Lollapalooza. Hello.
I know. Hello. The like that's like the goal.
That's the goal for sure.
Well, thank you so much for chatting with me. I
Yeah,
hope that
thanks.
everybody goes and follows you, listens to your music, sees what an amazing artist you are. Um, and I really appreciate the time that you took to talk with me.
Yeah, of course. I appreciate you having me.
Of course. Well, we will hopefully see each other in the future in Chicago,
Very soon.
and we will update everybody when that happens.
Yes, exactly.
All right. This is Christina with Gossip with Bravo Babe. I had Chloe Caroline on with me. Thank you for listening.